smash that subscribe button the same way that Ryan Young smashed rebounds last night at Cameron Indoor Stadium, Joe. Actually, he wasn't like the main reason why they won that game last night for Pitt. Rebounding and Kyle Filipowski are the two big reasons why they ended up having a furious comeback against a good Panthers squad at Cameron Indoor Stadium. It felt like a low-energy kind of night at Cameron. 7 o'clock on a Wednesday against Pitt. It ain't Coach K's final season anymore. Things hit a little bit differently now. But when Duke started to make that comeback in the second half, even John Shire talked about it after the game, it felt like a classic Cameron game, as it should, damn it. You got two Duke greats coaching against each other. It should be filled up, okay? Anyway, I had to get that off my chest. It kind of bothered me last night. But Duke, Joe, I don't know, man. This Duke team has a hard time with the whole offense thing. Derek Lively is starting to wonder what his future is going to be with the Duke Blue Devils this season, his ultimate role is going to be. But I'll say this about the Blue Devils. They're big, and they will work hard on the defensive end. And if you can muck up games, you can still find ways to win that way, and that's exactly what happened last night. They kept the ball in their hands. They took it away from Pitt every chance. Well, they out-rebounded Pitt on the offensive glass alone last night. It was pretty impressive what they were able to do.
It's an important win for Duke. We've talked about how this isn't a vintage Duke team. They're probably not going to make the Final Four, not going to win the ACC, but you want to make the tournament.
Yeah.
And they have some good wins out of the league. Now they need to pick up some good wins in the league. This counts as one of those good wins in the league. The parts on Pitt are pretty good. Jamarius Burton, I like the cut of his jib. Blake Hinson, another one of those guys that you're looking at, you're going, okay. Nelly Cummings, another backcourt kid, Pittsburgh kid, who, Jeff Capel made some really good moves in the portal, improved that team, and they're in good position to make the NCAA tournament as well. Mm-hmm. But you're Duke, you're trying to find the bus driver, and maybe you did last night in Kyle Filipowski. Maybe. Is he going to have the ball in his hands enough to do that? I don't know. But if he's going to rebound the way that he did, he will have the ball in his hands. It's going to be interesting to see when Jeremy Roach comes back. They're still getting all those parts together.
Yeah.
You mentioned Lively, what they're trying to get out of Lively. What can they get out of Lively?
That's the question that I have. I think the issue that Duke has had has been a hodgepodge of issues at the guard position, right? You mentioned Jeremy Roach in the toe. He's not going to be available on Saturday, according to John Shire last night. You do see Dariq Whitehead start to, because again, that's another early season. Where is he? What's his health status? Everything else. You also got Proctor out there as well. So
Proctor had one of his better games.
He did. Tyrese Proctor did have one of his better games last night. So the guard position, I think, is whatever. I think it'll sort itself out. You mentioned Derek Lively. That's the key, right? Derek Lively was brought in to be one of these difference makers that we've seen. But we talk about this all the time. I know you make this point, and it's worth repeating. Not every recruiting class at your high-level institution is the same. For every
Zion, Jason Tatum, RJ Barrett.
To a certain extent, Powell Banchero last year, who was really, really good, even though he had some quirks to work out. There's the flip side of that, the guys who don't pan out, and there's just as many guys you can name off that Duke list, and any other school, by the way, that don't pan out the way five-star recruits are supposed to pan out. We've been spoiled
by those names that we just ran through, because we expect everyone who's a five-star, everyone who's in the top 5 or top 10 in the recruiting class to come in and just dominate right away, and then you throw in the injuries that Lively and Dariq Whitehead had, and it becomes difficult, even for players as talented as they are.
Filipowski might be that bus driver, as you mentioned. He's had a consistency of having big games, big moments, big shots, too. Here's John Shire on Flip's performance last night.
Flip was great tonight. He hasn't played as well, and he's been a difference maker for us. When he's at his peak, it's a game changer. He puts a lot of pressure on the defense. Obviously the way he can attack the basket. It's good for him to see a 3 go down tonight, because we still feel like those are great shots for us, and we want him shooting those. But just his determination on the boards, to have 15 rebounds, against them, I know they've been right there statistically rebounding with other teams. And so for Flip to do that against a veteran team like them is a big deal.
So that's John Shire, head coach Duke, last night on the win over Pitt.
It was actually Filipowski's first made three-pointer since the game up in the Garden against Iowa on December 6th.
That's crazy. That is crazy. Actually, in the second half, I'm pretty sure they only took 1 3 last night because that wasn't what last night was about. But they probably shouldn't take threes.
Duke playing the way that Roy Williams wants to play basketball is a little bit of a mind bender for me.
A little bit.
I'm not going to lie to you. Like vintage 07, 06 Carolina from Duke last night. Fine. We're going to miss. Fine. That's part of the offense. Let's run we miss and get the rebound and put it in play.
Hey, man. It worked last night. And it could work plenty. If that's what their identity is going to be.
They have the size to do that.
They got the bodies. If that's their identity, then I actually like Duke in more games than not, is what I'm saying. As long as they figure out what their identity is, and that's been a bit of a problem for Duke as they've gotten to this point in the season.